Hi, so I'm back with another couple of movies that I think you should check out. So the first one that I want to talk about is a fairly recent movie, which you won't hear me usually praising, but occasionally I do get to watch a recent movie, and I end up really liking it. In fact, both the movies for tonight are uh, fairly recent and came out in recent years. The first one is Stranger Than Fiction, and it stars Will Ferrell and Kate Blanchett and Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman. And it tells the story of uh, this everyday guy where we're not sure if he only comes into existence as the author begins telling the story about him, but uh, there's just this wonderful storyline where uh, as this guy hears narration about his life, it turns out that then it actually happens. And at first he thinks he's going crazy, except that voices in your head don't usually tell you what exactly is about to happen. Uh, they usually tell you what you should do, but this one doesn't. So uh, a whole interesting slew of twists and turns occur. Um, Maggie Gyllenhaal plays Will Ferrell's love interest in the film, and it's actually really, really good. It's really one of the best written kind of strange comedies I've ever seen, and I wasn't sure where it was going because it could have taken in a quickly dark direction like Being John Malkovich did, whereas this one takes a more lighthearted approach to it. Um, it has a happy ending, which is always a plus. Anyway, so I found the film to be really delightful, and I just generally enjoyed it. And I recommend that you run out and see it. It's actually here on YouTube at present via Crackle, I think. Anyway, so you can look that up. And it's not very long. It's pretty suitable for like teenagers and up, so maybe PG-13, which I think is what it's rated. Uh, so that's easily worth your time, and of course it's free, which is always good. And then if you like it, you can of course go out and buy it, because one of the wonderful things about putting movies online is that then, hey, you might add it to your DVD library, or you might even run out and get a VHS if you're really lucky enough to find a copy of a film on VHS nowadays. Anyway, so the next film that I want to recommend is The Illusionist. This film stars Edward Norton and Paul Giamatti and I believe it's Jessica Biel. Yes, Jessica Biel, um, who had not really done a serious dramatic role up until this point. And it's based on an old folk tale that was then turned into a novel. And it covers like this full story of this young man's life where he falls in love with uh, a young duchess and when they're children, and then later meets up with her as an adult when she's set to marry the Crown Prince of Vienna, um, who, uh, once he's married, can take over as the Emperor of of Austria. You know, uh, and so there's this competition, this love triangle, and of course she's really in love with uh, Edward Norton's character, who is a poor Jewish uh, carpenter's son who travels the world and becomes uh, this great illusionist. And yeah, it's just a really great film. A lot of the effects were done with actual physical effects. It was shot on location in I believe Prague. They said in the audio commentary. I was able to watch it from Netflix, so I was really lucky. Um, a copy of the film probably won't run you very much, but it has this lovely feel to it. They gave it very much the feel of the turn of the century from 1800s to 1900s, and it really just has this sort of warm feel. Uh, the music is string accompaniment, so it ends up having this wonderful feel to it. And Paul Giamatti, I think, should have won an award for it if he didn't, because he was so good in it, and his character was uh, such a divergence from his normal roles. Same with Jessica Biel. And Ed Norton is used to playing somewhat darker characters when he played Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk, and when he played, um, of course, the main character in American History X. I think his name is Danny or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. Obviously, I wasn't too focused on the character names as much as the drama in that film, which is also a good movie if you ever want to watch it. My last ex, back in 2006, watched it and had no idea how turbulent and upsetting it was, and really enjoyed it. And it's a very dark movie. Um, the Illusionist is also pretty dark, but it leaves you with an unclear ending. You don't know exactly whether or not uh, it ended up okay in the end. Um, there's some suggestion that all the while we're thinking that Ed Norton's character is dead, he's actually off somewhere uh, with Jessica Biel's character frolicking at a cottage in the woods. Uh, this came out about the same time as The Prestige, and obviously there was a bit of a competition, and some people might have gotten mixed up as to which movie was which. I honestly want to also see The Prestige because it also looks really good, and I also like Christian Bale as well as Ed Norton. Um, and of course, Paul Giamatti and Ed Norton evidently have very different acting styles that make them very interesting to work with. Ed Norton evidently is very calculated, whereas Paul Giamatti is very shoot from the hip type, very off the cuff. So uh, the fact that they play off each other is very interesting. So then the last one I'm going to recommend for tonight is Monsters vs. Aliens. It has an all-star cast doing the different voices. Although I wouldn't call some of the people stars. They're kind of minor character actors on like The Office or something. But you know they do a good job lending themselves to the different voices. I loved Hugh Laurie and I think it was Reese Witherspoon and uh, Seth Rogen and I can't think of who else, but uh, Kiefer Sutherland is also really good in it, and the plot is really heartwarming. It's great for the kids. It has a lot of fun to it, and it's just generally a really fun, happy movie to watch, and it has a happy ending, uh, and a lot of really cool stuff happens. So I would really recommend that if you're kind of stuck for entertainment, and it's a fairly recent film as well. So that's all for this edition of film recommendations. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye bye.